How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is Charlie, and welcome back to This Week in Boxing. Another week.
Another week, still here.
Yeah, surviving.
Absolute striving, surviving.
All right then. Interesting weekend of fights. Fights that we didn't get to watch fully because me and Charlie were arguing through the majority of the evening.
Debating. We don't argue, we debate.
You call it debating. You call it. It was a problem. We had a problem last night. Yeah, I think we missed half the card. Arguing.
Debating.
Debating. All right then. So let's about boxing.
Absolutely.
All right then. So let's go with Terry Harper versus Cecilia Brækhus. And the fight that I'm not gonna lie, I didn't focus on it as hard as I could because we were in this dispute. Debate. All right then. Here's what I saw from my limited amount of attention. I was disappointed with Brækhus's conditioning.
Yeah.
She didn't really look in shape for the fight.
You've got to remember, take into account her age.
Yeah, she's old enough. She's a bit older now. Yeah, she's a legend. She's an all-time for female boxing. She's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. So not taking that away from her, but she looked a bit slow. She looked a bit ponderous. Was pushing her punches, and that was also from round 1, round 2.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see Terry Harper doing much either.
I didn't, and I know I'm maybe jumping the gun here a bit, but yeah, as you said, we were having a bit of a debate, having a drink, snacks, as you do when you watch boxing. Yeah. So we were slightly distracted, but from what I saw, I thought a pretty even contest, a bit of a non-event, if I'm honest. I didn't think either fighter did enough, in my opinion. But when you listen to the comments after the fight, from what Eddie Hearn was saying, he was saying that
it was a whitewash.
Got absolutely robbed, and it was a travesty.
I think Eddie said he had it 7 rounds to 3.
Well, one judge pretty much did, didn't they?
Yeah,
one judge.
So I'm not gonna give you. I can't give you a full fair assessment on the fight because, like I said, the attention wasn't fully on it. However, from what I saw, it looked like Brækhus was trying to make the fight by coming forward and putting punches off, but Terry Harper was landing cleaner shots when those exchanges happened.
Which wasn't very often.
But that's the whole point. It wasn't very often.
It wasn't very
and
often.
The rounds seemed hard to score. But again, it's an interesting one because I said it warrants a reviewing. But from what I saw, I don't feel like reviewing it.
It wasn't. Listen, we were chatting, but part of the reason we were chatting, debating, was because the fight wasn't attention grabbing. It wasn't a great fight. So I don't think it was memorable. We spent a lot of time here chatting about it. Yeah. But I don't think it was a memorable fight.
No. So
and I don't think it was a majority draw was a travesty.
No, same. From what I saw, it didn't seem like it was a travesty. All right then, let's go to the main event from last night. Lee Woods versus Josh Warren.
Wow.
What a fight.
Wow.
So, first of all, round of applause to both men. Yeah. No matter how you had the fight scored up until the stoppage, it was a very highly engaging, entertaining fight. Yeah. Fast-paced.
I'll tell you what, Lee Wood's got a new name for me. Right? Lee Wood, for me, doubles up as Randy Orton. Out of nowhere.
That's the RKO.
Out of nowhere. Because, I had Lee Wood before the fight. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I thought Warrington had him up.
Yeah.
Really did. I think after the first 2 rounds, I thought Warrington was all over him.
Yeah.
And, I was backtracking like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Like nobody's business. But out of nowhere.
I had Lee Wood winning the fight as well. Prior to the fight, I thought he would draw away late, and no, it didn't happen. If Warrington was a bigger puncher, Lee Wood would have been in serious trouble.
Yeah,
he would have been in serious trouble. Warrington was landing some shots and combinations, especially up close. Yeah, and you could see that Woods was worried and he was hurt many times throughout the fight.
I think it's not the first time Woods done this. It's not the first time that Conlon had him up.
Yeah,
and he again out of nowhere. And he's an exciting guy. Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to have many more fights if he takes that sort of beating. Yeah. Even though he's getting the victories, but like I said, it ain't the first time, and you're absolutely right. You can only fight who you're fighting. Yeah. So the story is written with the two combatants that are there on the day. So Warren is what he is, and he was, I thought, very good roll back the years.
Yeah.
Combinations. He was giving him, even though you say he didn't have the power.
Yeah.
You saw his face after the fight.
Yeah.
He was giving him a beating.
And you know, I think what we all forget about with boxing is that it is a 12-round sport. You're allowed to be behind on points. You're allowed to be losing, and it's down for you to turn it around. And I think that's the beauty of the sport. Whereas someone is so much on top of a fight, and it could change that quick. The way Woods ended it was solid.
Yeah. 5
punches. The first one was a knockout. Warrington was gone. He was on his feet, but he was out.
The only thing I'll say is you're talking absolute sense, mate. You know, perfect. Why does this not apply to Wilder?
Let's not even go there.
I'll leave it.
See, it's comments like this, that caused the problem yesterday. Yeah. But maybe lose my train of thought now. But the ending, the way he ended it was solid. The way he ended the first shot was definitely a knockout blow, whereas Warrington the lights were still switched on, but they were completely dimmed, and he kind of froze. And the last 4 punches just literally put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, he was stiffed. He was like this, and he was just taking. I think he took 4 like this. Yeah. So I think it was 5 punches, a 5-punch combination where the guy was he was just stiff, and I think he jumped back up.
Yeah,
he
instinct.
Said he was ready to rock and roll, but to me, I'm not sure. No. I think the ref did a sterling job.
No, I think the ref done the perfect job. And Warrington alluded to a bad stoppage at the end of the fight, and then he could have carried on.
No way.
Listen, when you turn your back on the ref and walk to your corner, you're basically saying, I can't fight.
He didn't know where it was.
Yeah, he basically saying, I cannot fight. He had no idea. No. He might have cleared up by the time he realised his corner spoke to him, but you can never turn your back on the referee and walk to your corner.
And thank God he did clear up, because to be honest, as I said, those 4 punches, while he was stiff, there could have been more damage done than we would have liked. So it's great that he was able to do the interview afterwards, but I still think he was a bit dizzy.
No, definitely.
There's no way he was ready to carry.
You know, you have combinations like that and knockouts like that. It's normally a knockout, and it's like, ooh, it was surprising that he got up. Yeah, so normally when you have a combination that devastating, it's a brutal knockout, and that's why he may have felt he could have, because he was on his feet. But no, it was over. Does Warrington retire after this? Or should he retire?
I mean, these guys are operating, Leewood, wherever we may think, he's operating at a high level, isn't it? So there may be a few more lower level. I mean, that was like Nottingham versus these on a football level. It was a bit of a, they had fans, football fans. So he does bring a lot of fans with him because of the football element, the Leeds fans. So he could probably have a domestic dust up. I mean, nobody springs to mind, but he probably could. Just as a closeout, maybe something locally in Leeds. I don't know. But
now, if it's a homecoming easy match, I could deal with that. But I think that he should call it a day now. I think boxing is one of those sports where it's such a beautiful sport when done right. He's a 2-weight world champion. Yeah. He's just had a great fight. He's made a lot of money from this sport. Yeah. There's no need. Once you reach the top, there's only one way, and it's going back down. And now that slippage has shown. Yeah. The Lara fights, the Lopez, the fight before.
Spanish guy.
Yeah. And now this one, so it might be only a small drop, but it's now a drop. He could go out on the high, on top, with all his faculties. He's only 32 years old. That's a successful boxing career. That's where it should be ended.
I think sometimes fights don't want to go out on a low.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might want to, as I said,
like a homecoming fight. Easy homecoming fight I can live with.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Yeah. He isn't operating at world level anymore. That's clear. So there's no point trying to be a gatekeeper or doing anything like that. He's probably, as you said, achieved enough not to go out like that. Yeah. And so he should, if he's going to go out, as you say, have a nice little homecoming and a nice little send off, payday, and ride off into the sunset.
No, agree. And for Woods, I mean, I like to say up and up.
They alluded to the stadium fight. So they said something at the City Ground, Nottingham. next year. So he talked about him resting up
Yeah.
and then having a big fight in Sydney. But you know, we were both, you know, on tenterhooks trying to work out who that would be against, but it didn't really mention an opponent.
To do a stadium fight, you need a massive opponent. Yeah. To do a stadium fight, and I'm not a promoter, but I'm not sure if Lee Wood is there to do a massive stadium fight like that. However, I think other world-class fighters will look at it and think, that's a world title I could get.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Not that he's bad, but Warrington, like you said, was controlling the fight. You got to worry about the equalizer. You can outbox him, you can outfight him. You got to worry about the equalizer.
Yeah, but he's just on. You know, he's had some fights, some exciting fights, and he's on a wave. While he's on that wave, he's gonna try and
Capitalise on it.
absolutely make hay while the sun shines. So, I think he can get a fight. I don't know who it's against. As I said, we were listening out to say, try and see if they'd name a name, but they talked about a venue and a big fight. So we'll wait and see what happens.
I will say this respectfully. I will say this respectfully. The Lee Wood show goes on, and it's a great show to be on. But that train is coming to an end soon. Yeah,
as I said, out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere. But that was a one-way traffic fight.
But it's been there before. It's been like that before, as I said. So who knows? Out of nowhere, he could find an equalizer against an opponent. Another opponent we maybe this one we expected. Nick didn't expect it against Conlon. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Moving over to America. We've got one major fight over in America. We had Joe Smith Jr. versus Gilberto Ramirez.
I've not caught this one fully. Saw a few of the highlights, as you know, but I expected Ramirez to come out top. That was my pick, but I haven't watched it. But yeah, here he is clear on points.
Yeah, it was a funny fight for me, where they're both claiming they can't make 175.
Smith looked big.
But they had the catch weight. The fight was not done at the full limit. It was at like 192.
But in the fight, Smith looked like the bigger man.
Yeah, he looked like the bigger man.
He looked like the bigger
man. He looked like the big. Smith's always been he was a big light heavyweight. Yeah. But I think so it was a fight where I don't know why they had the catch weight. Like if you're gonna fight at cruiserweight, you might as well go for the cruiserweight limit, because all the other guys in the division are fighting at 200 pounds. So you coming in at a lighter weight, it's kind of saying, well, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. It's kind of mismarketing. You know what I mean? So. It was an unusual one. Again, Ramirez done good. Good, solid fight. I'm confused for both of them, though. Why I say I'm confused with both of them, so I don't know where they go at cruiserweight.
I was about to say the same thing. Where do they go?
I have no idea where they go. And respectfully, now they want piece of that J. Opetaia. No, this I watched last night, and this you're gonna say last week's fight with Jordan Thompson wasn't the best opponent, yeah. But looking at the fights last night, look at the style, stylistically how they match up. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna hang around.
You've got to go through those opponents. So I probably has to go through those opponents just to cement the level he's at.
His name and legacy.
Yeah, so either of them are a good opponent for him, a credible opponent for him. So for him, it's good. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It gives him contenders and names to fight.
For him, yeah. But for them, what you're saying is, have they really got a chance?
Yeah. And boxing, as much as it's about making a living and it's a sport, it's also about ambition and wanting to achieve to be the best. When you've got legit contenders, legit former world champions, and guys that are ambitious, they're looking at the big fish at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you've got someone like Joe Smith, now I'm trying to say, who again has been around, made his name from the Hopkins fight 7, 8, 10 years ago, and has been at that world class level all that time. I don't think those type of guys want to come cruiserweight to be cannon fodder.
Yeah, but some of these boxers are a bit deluded as well. It depends what his mentality is. He might think he can go and take on anyone. Yeah. He might be thinking that. I don't know. I've got to be honest, not close to him or follow him that closely. Mm-hmm. But some boxers, their egos do take them places they shouldn't go. Yeah. Like we've seen recently with some guys going up in weight and telling us that they're going to do what they couldn't do. Even fooling me. So, as I said, they're credible names. Mm-hmm. and Opetaia needs to get some of them on his resume.
Yeah.
So something like that could be a possibility. Could be a possibility.
Right. Let's move forward with the news, and let's stick with Jay Opetaia.
Mm-hmm.
He's been rumoured to be a sparring partner for Fury's preparation for Usyk. I don't see how it works, and
What's this about?
I don't see how it works.
Usually kids are blown up.
Yeah.
Cruiserweight, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
He gets a cruiserweight champion. Stylistically, they're different fighters. Stylistically, and Usyk may have been a cruiserweight, but he weighs 220 now, 225 now. You know, like it's a different ball game. Fury's a funny dude.
Smaller, slicker.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what he's looking at? But he keeps telling us that Usyk's just now blowing up cruiserweight. So it makes sense for him to spar against cruiserweight.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with Fury. It is entertaining, but yeah. To be honest though, I don't think the offer's there. I don't think someone like Opetaia should take the sparring opportunities though. You're a world champion, yeah? I don't think he should devalue himself as a sparring partner for Tyson Fury.
I don't think it's devaluing yourself. I think sometimes when you...
Good contenders, sparring partner, yes. World champion as a sparring partner.
But you hear about like people sparring people up weight. So you hear like Canelo sparring within his camp heavyweights.
Yeah.
You hear about Gervonta Davis going in there with cruiserweights or light heavy. I'm not sure. Yeah. So
the stories float around.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a terrible thing. They're both world champions. It ain't like he's going to spar any old heavyweight. He's going on title alone.
Yeah.
One of the top. So who knows? Like I say, it's a rumour. It's a rumour. It's cemented. But I don't think it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing for either man. If you as we say,
you think there's benefits of both?
Iron sharpens iron, and if they're both top of their game, why not? It's not the disparity's there because of the size of the heavyweight. Yeah. But if we go back a few years, the heavyweight it's not a massive difference. So let's see. And I know he sparred Okoli and people like that before. Okoli. So let's see.
Oh, we'll see. Let's go on to a bit of news regarding promoters, and we kind of had part of our disagreement yesterday was around promoters and the way the sport's going and what's going on. So this week, Oscar De La Hoya's come out and said that all us promoters need to work together. Yeah, and start putting the big fights on. The sport is not getting enough coverage, and we need to do something about it.
Maybe he's saying I ain't got no fighters, so somebody needs to come and help me. That's more what Oscar De La Hoya said.
Oscar's not the most credible person to talk on some of this. He himself has his own personal issues we won't get into. And he also is a very combative promoter as well, where he only wants to do things on his side of the coin, similar to the PBC. However,
fighters. Who's Oscar De La Hoya?
However,
who's Golden Boy got now?
Ryan Garcia.
Is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there. Apparently he's fighting December.
Skin of their teeth.
Yeah, apparently he's fighting December. But the point is though, Oscar's right is what he's saying. And is it about time promoters start talking about this and saying, look, other sports are now taking a footing on us. Let's add this into the other question on the list. It's official. Showtime is out of boxing. Yeah? So this is showing that what Oscar's saying and what's happening with Showtime and HBO leaving a few years ago and UK-wise, little boxing on domestic TV, Oscar is 100% right. We need to get hold of this now. Promoters need to work together and start doing something because MMA is picking up. All the other sports are picking up. Boxing's not picking up.
Taking the statement, I agree. Yeah, it's just who said it. Maybe I can't look past who said it. Yeah. So you're right. The promoters, for us as fans, we're fans, you need the promoters to work together so we can get the events that we want to see. So he's absolutely right, and I can't say he's not talking sense. But this man hasn't talked sense for so many years, so I just think there's another agenda if he says it. wrongly or rightly. But yeah, in terms of taking the actual statement in its purity and not thinking about who said it, you're absolutely right. They have to look for a way to work together, and we had this conversation looking at Showtime pulling out and PBC potentially moving on to platforms like Amazon, and comments that were made before about platforms like DAZN.
Yeah.
So people need to humble themselves and
yeah.
say, look,
so
if boxing seems to be moving away from mainstream TV, so
we're sidetracking a little bit, but let's bring that part into the conversation. Part of the conversation yesterday was about this whole situation, whereas Leonard Enderby and even Bob Arum at the time was saying that it's an app, it's a zone, no one does this and no one does that. Now everyone's being forced to these streaming platforms. Obviously ESPN Plus is a streaming platform. Obviously if PBC get Amazon, that's Amazon Prime's a streaming platform. Mm-hmm. The market has changed the way things are being delivered, and promoting to work together, yes, but being part of a massive organization like ESPN, like Amazon, like DAZN, which is solely doing their thing as well, it causes more problems.
Yeah, no, it does.
It causes more problems. Like, no other sport in the world has this much problems or disagreements with competing organizations.
Yeah, but it's because you've aligned channels to promoters. Yeah, but I think before you had promoters, but the channels were the same. Now you've aligned the channels to promoters. You're right, as a sport, it's almost like when we look at you had an issue with the golf, where you had
PGA.
Yeah, you had the PGA, and you had this new spin-off group from the Middle East, I believe, and they had to bring them back together and work together to try and bring the golfers back together. And it's the same what you're saying with boxing. We need to somehow, the promoters promote, so you'll have the disputes between the promoters, but almost a channel. The boxing association needs to unify and so we can get the fights that we need to get. Yeah. Because you're right, and I say you're right. I'm never going to say Oscar De La Hoya is right, but it's ruining the sport.
So let me make this worse now and just add in another element onto this, which is all part of our questions this week. Promoters need to work together. Mm-hmm. People are coming out of the sport because of all these other issues. Last week, Fury and Usyk said they're going to go on the 23rd, potentially, depending on if Fury comes out.
Yeah,
fine.
But it's not named the date. It's just a rumour.
Rumoured date,
I think
Eddie Hearn is already going saying that he wants to do...
what's that name? Gareth A. Davis.
Yeah.
Gareth A. Davis said, from what I heard, potentially Fury Usyk 23rd.
Yeah. But Eddie Hearn's already saying he will go ahead with Eubank Ben on the 23rd. Mm-hmm. Yeah. With possible AJ on the card or some way to put it all together to make another event. And he's basically said that it's not been officially announced with Usyk and Fury, which is correct. Yeah. But why would you do that? Like, you're not helping whole element.
I don't know if it was that interview, but I heard him doing an interview where he mentioned this.
Yeah.
And the whole interview, to me, was Eddie being a bit cheeky, a little joke. To me, right? Right. Again, I may be reading into the interview things that weren't really there or comments weren't really there, but he mentioned how he was offered he had a chance to give AJ the Ngannou fight. Yeah. He said, and he said that, I would have taken it. Yeah, it makes sense, make money. I'll pull it to AJ. AJ said, nah. Yeah. And to me, that was just a little swipe, and although indirect, to say, why is Fury doing what he's doing? Mm. And then he did mention this 23rd, but he did say he would work with the other promoters if they were doing an event on the same day. But he said, but they haven't announced it yet. It's getting a bit late. Yeah. And we've got to make moves now. So he, in the same breath, he kind of said, well, I'm going to set my fights on the 23rd, and AJ may be there as well. Yeah.
All right, so so in theory, what Eddie Hearn's doing is not wrong because there's no official date.
No, absolutely.
Yeah? So in terms of like all fair in love and war, it's fair. However, smart man. As a business, as a sport, and growing the sport, why would you put two major events on the same day?
He knows that one. Yeah, I think he's forcing.
And remember this as well, yeah. Bob Arum and Frank Warren have both said in some way, shape, or form, Saudi's paying the money. We do it when they want to do it.
So you think they want to do it on the 23rd?
And what I'm trying to say is that if Eddie goes on the 23rd and Saudi says, guess what, we're still doing the 23rd, Frank or Bob don't really have a choice. The money's so huge.
That's just stupid.
This is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's a mess. Like, I don't understand why Eddie will do that in the first place. Why have that conversation? He should have kept his mouth shut. Yeah, and if the fight is signed and you want to do that, then do it at that time. You're automatically causing a massive conflict before conflict even happened.
Spiteful creatures, these promoters sometimes. Spiteful creatures. As I said, look, I might be reading between the lines. But as I said, I thought that whole interview was a load of subliminal messaging. To me, it was. Yeah. So you're probably right. He's probably just a little.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, but it makes no sense business-wise for either of them to go up against each other. It makes no sense. Yeah, you're taking money out of your own pockets.
Yeah, we are. All right, then I want to leave. Let's leave that subject for now because it's still developing. Yeah. I'm sure we'll touch on it again in a few weeks once we know what's going on. But I want to stick with the heavyweights for a second. Eddie Hearn's really wound me up this week. Yeah, as much as I think Eddie Hearn is most really the best promoter we have in the UK for various reasons, you may agree or disagree. He's really wound me up this week. And now we're saying that Fury is going to... So AJ could potentially fight Hrgovic for the vacant IBF title.
I didn't hear that. I heard the rumour, but he didn't name an opponent. He just mentioned AJ can't wait to fight Wilder because Wilder potentially... He said he's still working on a Wilder fight, so he would want that to be on the 23rd. And again, I'm paraphrasing it, and then he said, but that's more likely to be next year, that AJ has to fight this year, so he did say they're looking for an opponent.
So here's what's happening now. So these Boxing Social and IFL interviews, they sound the same now. They just cross over now. I can't tell you who's who and which no more. Right. But to cut a long story short, his saying is that there's a two-way rematch clause in Fury versus Usyk, and the IBF won't allow the rematch to go ahead with their belt, so it will free up the belt to make it vacant, and that will make the two top contenders, which is AJ and Hrgovic, for the title. Yeah, he's talking about it like it's current. It's not current. Yeah, we ain't even had the first fight yet. We haven't got a date for the first few Usyk yet.
He's actually talked about AJ fighting Hrgovic.
So if there was a rematch, if this fight took place in December or January, and there was a rematch and it was summer, you're not going to get an IBF title fight until this time next year.
But that would be a good fight, though.
No, it might be a good fight, but you can't talk about it now and act like it's imminent. It's not imminent. It's a long, long way away. That Wilder fight should still be the go-to subject because the IBF title is not going to be free for another 8 to 12 months at best. So why talk about it now and act like, oh, we'll do Hrgovic first, then do Wilder? No. Do the Wilder fight. If that was being negotiated and being talked about all this time, why are you pulling away from that conversation
he did say that
to have this conversation?
In the interview I heard, and I think it was on TalkSport or something like that, he did say he's still pursuing the Wilder fight, but it's looking unlikely. And I don't know, again, people talk about the numbers. Because they had agreed a deal, they had agreed numbers, that deal's kind of collapsed, and it's hard making that fight again because it won't be the same numbers.
Those pre-promised numbers.
Yeah, so that's what I think he kind of talked around that. So he did say he wants it, but it seems like it's hit a roadblock. So he's looking at other avenues. But Hrgovic would be a good fight. It'll be a good fight. But again, they're not going to fight this as a world title, and the world title Ahead's talking about is not vacant. Why do they need to?
It's not going to be welcome. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it as a standalone fight. Yeah, they're going to put AJ potentially on the undercard of Eubank versus Ben.
Yeah, he said joint mate.
Yeah, or joint mate. Well, someone has to go. Someone has to go last. Someone has to go before.
AJ ain't going before Ben and Eubank.
Right? And either way, yeah. Either way,
AJ ain't boxing before Ben and Eubank.
Either way, I don't know. I'm just saying that there's, unless you're going to do that fight without a belt, which they're not going to do because Hrgovic is mandatory. Why talk about that fight like it's imminent when it's not even close?
I'd like to think they'll just do it. I know I'm a naive, but I'd like to think they'll just do it.
If Fury was to win, that fight's 3 fights away. Ngannou, Usyk 1, Usyk 2.
It's a long way away.
It's a long way away. So just talking this way doesn't help anything. All right then. Derek Chisora's come out this week saying he wants Zhang.
Why are we talking about this?
Nah, I know. I'm
No, it's news.
news is news. But again, as much as I think Doughboy should retire now, yeah, and I like Doughboy, I admire his ambition.
I can't believe what you're saying.
No, I admire his ambition. This guy's not ducking no one. I'm trying to say, yeah, he's got the heart.
He never
He's
has.
got the heart
He
and
never
the guts that all these other helmets should be looking at.
He never has. But let's protect him from himself.
I agree.
He shouldn't be fighting Zhang.
No, I agree. He needs to play for himself. However, he's got the desire we're looking for in the sport.
No, I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
He's one of the favourites because he will fight anyone.
Mm-hmm.
He will fight anyone.
All right then. Last two bits of news before we go on to next week's fights. We mentioned last week about Ugas needs to retire. He's now contemplating with his team, without making no rash decisions. Like right now, he's going to think about it, talk about his team, and make a decision, which I think is a smart thing to do.
He rash.
He rash. But it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I think anyone that watches boxing, we don't want to see fighters get injured.
Absolutely.
And we're
salute you guys.
We're seeing the
We
damage.
salute you, but it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. Can't be taking that sort of damage. I'm sure his missus, who seems like a lovely woman, don't want to be seeing him smash like that every time he fights, particularly when he fights the likes of the opponent he fought last. You know, it's different, as I said, when you get done by someone like Errol Spence. Maybe not now, but you know when it happened. But yeah. Anyway,
right. And the last thing, this is a rumor. I only picked this up today. Rumor has it that Bomac's sentencing or his case is going to take place tomorrow. Yeah, everyone kind of forgot about that one, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, what they're saying is that if he gets a sentence under 2 years, it could be suspended, and he could obviously return back. If it's over 2 years, then it means it's a custodial thing, and he's going to be stuck over here.
Me. Poor bloke. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't get the story.
I wouldn't say poor bloke, but I don't understand the whole gun scenario.
No, absolutely. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was thinking, what he was doing, what trouble he thought he was in. Whether somebody's trying to steal his food. Don't know what was going on. Don't know what was going on. Why this man's in this sort of trouble.
All right then. Let's go to next week's fights. And I don't even believe I'm calling this a fight, but there is some interest.
Next week.
There's a little tiny bit of interest for me in this fight because Tommy Fury could effectively end YouTube boxing.
Well, he should.
I don't like this YouTube boxing thing. I think it's dangerous. The kids like it, but you got untrained or guys that are training for white collar thing, doing boxing, and fair play to them for the pay-per-view numbers and making some money from it.
They're making good money.
But that's not boxing. That's not a sport. What they do is not boxing. And Tommy Fury has already ruined the Jake Paul scenario.
It is boxing. It's amateur boxing, isn't it? It's like it's not amateur, but like
they couldn't be any of those guys couldn't be an amateur.
I mean, like, yeah, true, not amateur. Not amateur as in like quality amateur boxing, but like I said, whatever. It's that type of, you know, you're cool on a Friday night. That's what it should be. Not even Friday night, Thursday night. Sorry, Thursday, Thursday night. Yeah, you know, Johnny at Canary Wharf versus Bob.
The world has changed since we were younger to where we are now. Yeah, and now you get cancelled for saying anything that anyone does not like. So I'm not body shaming anyone. Yeah, but they got this guy called Salt Pappy. Yeah, and my son Tyler, the young lion, he loves this stuff. Yeah. And I'm watching, I'm like, this is not, like, look at this dude. Look at this dude. Like, this is not...
But he ain't boxing though, is he?
Yeah. He's been knocking a few people out. Oh, okay. And he's getting like, I don't get it. Like, if I bring Salt Pappy down to the boxing gym on a Sunday, he will never box again.
I don't watch this stuff. I'm
I don't get it. No, I mean, I do not get it. And like...
But it has an audience, like you say. The youngsters, they seem to watch it and they like it. And... yeah, we would probably think a bit more deeply about it and think, like you say, people are putting their lives at risk doing it and messing around.
Yeah.
They're playing with fire. But it has an audience and a following that
Did
says
you
that
see
they
that
could get
interview
paid.
that KSI done, which was like the WWE promo?
Yeah.
What the hell was that? It was typical 1995 WWF. Not even WWE, WWF.
But it's quite fun. You watch the views next week. We'll talk about it. You watch the views next week,
And
it will justify itself.
I was when YouTube was playing in the background and it switched to the next video.
How many views has it got?
I don't know. But they got a bloody
Sure.
face off. They got a face off between Logan Paul and Dillian Dennis. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I listened to it out of curiosity. They're talking about each other's girls and your girls this and that. It was like, this it was a joke. It was like two kids in the playground. Two kids in the playground. Like, this is not what boxing's come to.
So it's not. I mean, you got to separate the two. It's not real boxing, but it's. I don't know.
We're of a different standard. Yeah? We're of a different standard. Yeah. But in my house, now I'm trying to say, my dad and my uncles even talked about Ali and Fraser and XYZ. I saw Marvin Hagler fight. I saw Tommy Hearns. I saw Sugar Ray Leonard. Then as I got into a teenager, in my teens, we saw the Oscar De La Hoya, the Bernard Hopkins. We saw that whole generation, and you grew up on sports. The new generation have grown up on these idiots.
Yeah,
this ain't boxing. I can't support it.
I think because boxing is dangerous, it's probably a sport that you shouldn't really play.
Yeah.
But you have it in all sports. You have celebrity golf events. You have celebrity football matches. You have celebrity is always there, and if it gets views and brings attention to the main sport, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, and I do think it's a different audience. It is a different audience, but it's not for me. Like I say, I don't keep abreast of what's going on. Yeah. I don't really know what's going on, but if it attracts people to boxing, it gets people in gyms and whatever, then there is an upside. But I do agree with you that people are playing with fire.
Yeah, this is not a joke.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this for a fact. That I'm trying to say, my personal money ain't paying for that. My boy will watch it. He could go get his money and pay for it. Yeah, he could give it to my wife and they could sort it out. Yeah, I'm not touching that. I am not touching that. That's a travesty to our sport, and to even think that we're talking about it on a boxing show. It's mind-boggling.
It's a discussion point. I've heard it many a time discussed what people's opinions are of YouTube boxing or this new fandom. But the whole thing is strange. You've got people, we talk about out of nowhere, but it's out of nowhere making money and being elevated to celebrity status.
The last one they done.
No, I won't say little talent, because they must have some form of talent I can't reckon.
The last one they done, my son showed me, they had a tag team boxing match. What? Seriously? How can you have a tag team boxing match?
It's got me laughing.
No, but this is what I mean. He showed me. I'm like, what is this? Like this is. I told him, don't ever show me this stuff again. This is not boxing. This is scripted WWE type rubbish. Like, if you like wrestling, that's good. That's a sport. You understand what it is. I understand what boxing is, and that is not boxing. It's scripted.
It has its own audience. As I said, last time we discussed it here, but it has its own audience.
All right, well, there we go. Well, listen, that's it for this week in boxing. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Like, subscribe, and all that good.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, share.